Okay, so this was one of the most unbelievable days in my preparation for providing the news to you. FPV drones destroyed Russian bombers, but that was a story that happened after I prepared the previous story, which was about Russian trains, railroads, bridges going down and that sort of thing. And then I was like, okay, let me get one more pass to make sure I'm current, and everything switched. And that was after something else switched. Okay, so let's talk about the big story. I'll talk about the trains in a separate video. I try to keep these to 10 to 15 minutes. That's what you all have told me that you want. And it would go well into 25 or something. So if you want to see the train story, I'll do that later, and we'll just look for that. Okay, so what just happened? A drone attack is ongoing against Russian air bases with strategic bombers. While the full damage is still unclear, several videos show multiple bombers have been badly hit. This, like, it's not just that the airfield was hit. I'll show you the bombers that are in flames. Okay, satellite images from yesterday confirmed that Bela hosts the various 295 models, 222 M3s, and 160s. Okay, so without further ado, Russian Telegram channels report a fire by the Russian airfield in Olenna, which is a Russian strategic aviation which takes off for strikes in Ukraine. Yeah, so there's fires there, but beyond the fires, let's show you first where it is on the map. What? This is up on the north, like the top of Finland, like just east of Finland by the top there. Wow. Okay. So Ukrainian drones reportedly attempted to strike Russia's Ryazan region, per Governor Pavel Malkov. According to him, debris damaged a residential roof. Meanwhile, locals report explosions near Dyagalivo Air Base, home to the Russian strategic bombers. This is still unconfirmed information. And where is that? That one is down here, Ryazan. Okay. Here's more footage of the fire at Russian airfields. Ukraine's the only non-nuclear country in the world to destroy this much of the enemy's strategic aviation. Let's not also forget the Black Sea Fleet, large part of which is now at the bottom of the Black Sea. Okay, so yeah. And then here we have Irkutsk region of Russia, the Belaya, strong detonations in the airfield territory. We can see that locals recorded, I'm not making this up, FPV drones flying over their heads. And this is happening from 4,400 kilometers from the front line. I also repeat, several airfields in different parts of Russia are under attack at the same time, so don't get confused. Where are we talking about here? Well, here we're talking about just over Mongolia, like just like above Mongolia. That's where this one's hitting. But this one I can show you like real results. Breaking right now, the SBU is striking the Russian military airfield in Irkutsk region by controlling drones in real time, receiving a video signal from the drones. Video is from the Irkutsk region. Belya Air Base, located approximately 85 kilometers northwest of Irkutsk in Russia's Irkutsk Oblast, serves as a strategic site for long-range bomber operations. Situated about 4,000 kilometers from Ukraine, it hosts two 95 MS, 160, 220 M3 bombers equipped with KH-101, KH-555, KH-55 cruise missiles, enabling long-range strikes against Ukrainian targets. This is the furthest Russian base that Ukraine has hit with a drone attack during the entire war. Like, this is pretty incredible stuff. At the very same time, the second Russian airbase in Murmansk is also under a drone attack. And you're seeing real footage of what's gone on here. Let's see if I can scroll in and get you something clearer. I'll show you clearer in the next image. Reportedly, this is Belia Airfield in Irkutsk region of Russia. In terms of cost efficiency ratio, Ukraine's operation on June 1st, 2025 is unprecedented. A single FPV drone can cost as little as $300 to $600. Let's say it's $500 just to be, use something round numbers. Russia's modernized Tu-95 strategic bomber is valued at more than $100 million. So 500 to 100 million for the Tu-95 strategic bomber. So if you still don't believe me, here they are. You can see the images. This is amazing. Ukraine drone operators destroying Russia's Tu-95 strategic bombers in real time, 4,400 kilometers from the front line. And here you are. You can see what's happened here. Like, look at this. These are good hits. Okay, so yeah, you're seeing it now. Powerful explosions, but wait, there's more. Powerful explosions reported in Russia's Severomorsk, Morisk. Submarines with nuclear weapons are based there, and they're hitting the headquarters of the sub base. It's the most northern sub base. Again, it's right near the other base, near Finland. We're near the top of Finland. Okay, it's the main administration base of the Russian Northern Fleet, and they're hitting all this. Now, what's also interesting is they're hitting all this just before Tuesday's meeting. Like, they're going to have, like I said, Monday or Tuesday. I guess it's Monday's meeting in Istanbul. And the Russians, for their part, they were well aware that this meeting's coming, and they're hitting lots of stuff in Ukraine as well. But this was pretty impressive. Okay, 1,230 Russians off the battlefield, 5 tanks, 4 armored vehicles, 52 artillery systems, 127 vehicles and fuel tanks. Now, what was interesting about these numbers today is that the casualties remain high despite fewer engagements. So when there's lots of engagement and low casualties, it's very ineffective. When there's high casualties but fewer engagement, that means they're really pushing their people out at them. That's why I show you what I'm showing you here. Significant equipment losses, largely from unarmored vehicles and artillery. And you see that reflected here in the vehicle losses, 127 vehicles and fuel tanks. Okay, as I write this, it's Sunday morning in Kyiv, and explosions continue while Russia has spent the past 9 hours bombing our city. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones now rain on Ukraine in a never-ending barrage. Russia will only stop when they're stopped, and here's the map that she posted, and then you see another map that's even larger, right? So the Russians are coming after Ukraine to show they're trying to have a show of force here just before the talks tomorrow. Massive drone raid, air targets Ukraine ahead of planned talks with Russia. Here's the Kyiv Post. What was happening, where air raid sirens went off around 1:43 local time in Kyiv. Ukraine's Air Force reported that high-speed targets, including missiles, were approaching from the Sumy region in the northeast, heading toward the capital. Around 3:30, another wave of drones attacked Kyiv, with more explosions heard in the city. Around 6:20 a.m., Ukraine's Air Force said that the drones were approaching from the east. More strikes followed minutes later. Zaporizhia, the regional military administration, said the attack began around 9:40 p.m. on May 31st. 7 drones targeted the city, and there were also reports of a drone raid in the Zhytomyr region overnight. So there was lots going on there last night. In fact, the foreign minister shared footage. These are the sounds over my home this morning. Russia continues to mass missile and drone attacks on Ukraine, including residential areas. No memorandum from Russia has been received yet. Here's what he posted. Let's see if I can play that. I can make the sound go. There we go. Yeah, so that's what the foreign minister's experiencing overnight. Okay, most successful night of the year for anti-Shahed drone interceptors during the attack on Kyiv. So this is another big innovation as well. Last night, during a Russian drone attack, Kyiv Ukrainian defenders from the Siste Nebu unit, I might be slaughtering that. Please help me with my pronunciation if I did. Part of the unmanned systems forces intercepted 15 enemy Shahed drones with anti-Shahed interceptors. That's drones going up to intercept the drones and take them down. This is the most effective interception reported so far. This is a pretty new thing. Also said that the unit's work is still ongoing right now. A little bit more about this is at 18. As of the 18th of May 2025, the Ukrainians claimed that they had intercepted a total of 100 Shaheds with anti-Shahed interceptors. So this is big progress. It looks like this unit, the Unmanned Systems Forces, has an official logo inspired by the look of this anti-Shahed interceptor. Yeah, that's what that looks like. It's pretty cool. Again, there's measures and countermeasures and countermeasures to the countermeasures and so forth and so on. Across direction, Russian invaders led 36 assaults. That's fairly low, and it's consistent with what we're seeing as far as the damage. Okay, as of 12:50, the death toll has risen. This is bad. Has risen to 12, with over 60 individuals reported injured. What are we talking about? Today, a Russian missile strike targeted a training unit of Ukraine's ground forces. There are confirmed casualties and injuries among the service members. The military reports there were no formations or gatherings that were taking place. They just were able to target where they were training. So that's awful, but I have to report both sides of what's going on here. Okay, drone pilots from Ukraine's Bula unit destroyed Russian 1L-219 Zupark-1 counter-battery radar. So we see that, and we see Russian forces attempted to break through near Seversk using 8 motorcycles to storm positions held by the 10th Separate Mountain Assault Brigade. The assault failed. Surviving Russian troops were forced to retreat. But I mean, I can't see this really working. I mean, the only way that I can see this working is if there's hundreds of them, and then there'll still be huge slaughter. So it'll be a Pyrrhic victory. Like I just can't see this motor. I know people are saying, "Oh, you have speed." I get it, but you also sacrifice so much to get that speed. Here's a construction of a Ukrainian anti-infantry defense line made of barbed wire. Here, barbed wire is installed inside of an anti-tank barrier. Russian infantry often uses those for infantry movements. So getting across something like this is going to be pretty difficult, even if you have the speed of motorcycles or whatever else. And now this has to be far enough away that they can actually lay this without drones overhead destroying them in the process. Okay, Russia runs at least 136 camps where abducted Ukrainian children as young as 8 years old are held, indoctrinated against Ukraine and for Russia, trained in firearms use, military tactics, so on and so forth. These children were tracked moving in a military formation. I mean, this is just, I mean, it's sick what they're doing. Okay, Russians have opened the largest military training camp for children in Volgograd, Russia. Several hundred children aged 14 to 17 are being taught to kill Ukrainians and Europeans. 1/3 of them are children from the occupied territories of Ukraine. Guys, these are the young ones. He's talking about, how the glories of how wonderful this is. On this day in 1996, as per the Budapest memo guaranteeing their territorial integrity, Ukraine handed their final nuclear warhead to Russia. They also gave heavy bombers, Tu-22s, and 1,068 Kh-55 cruise missiles, which have been fired at Ukraine in this war. Well, some of those are now off the battlefield, as I showed you in the beginning of this video. And then finally, here's rescuing a roe deer entangled in anti-personnel barriers. And, there's something really interesting about the Ukrainians' disposition toward even taking care of animals. Like a good person is even going to be kind to animals, let alone fellow human beings. All right, my friends, that's all that I have for you. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. I'll do the training video next. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.